Hi, in this video we are going to discuss about the books available in library problem. So first let us just look at the statement of the problem. It says that for a library book there are details that will be stored like this: access number, section number, rack number, because it is going to be kept in the library somewhere and it has to be identified easily. So it will have an access number and then a section number, rack number, and then title and author are the normal attributes or properties of the book. And then there are going to be some operations that will be performed on the library. So it is given that access number is given as input when a book is going to be lended and returned as well. And there are only 5 books in the library, that is what is mentioned in the problem. Now you have to write some code to read detail of each book, and also you have to write a code in which you will be reading the choice of the user till he enters 0. So you are going to read his choice can be 1, 2, 3. Okay. So either 1, either 2 or 3. He can also repeat the choices and he will stop the execution when he enters 0. And if 1 is entered, then you are going to lend the book. Okay. So in that case what you are going to do is, you are going to access number will be given and you are going to lend the book, and when choice number 2 is given, he will be giving you the access number and you will be returning a book, right? And print the number of books in the library. When he is giving number 3, you have to print the number of books in the library. It is mentioned in the problem that totally there will be 5 books in the library, and after lending 1 book there will be 4 books. After lending 2 books there will be 3 books. If one of the book is returned, then the number of books will become 4, like this. Okay. So during the lending operation we are going to decrement the number of books, and during the return operation we are going to increase the number of books, right? And that is what is given. And also it is mentioned one more, it is mentioned in the problem that while lending, if access number of a book which has already been lended is given, okay, already the book is has been lended to someone, but you are trying to lend the book again, it is not in the library, then in that case your code should print -1. And similarly when returning, if access number of the book is already in the library, when they are going to return, it is assumed that the book is already outside and is coming back. Okay. So if the access number of the book is already in the library, then also you have to print -1. And some input format, output format is given. Let us not worry about that now. Let us start coding. And what is given in the problem is, these are all the properties that we can explicitly understand from the problem statement itself. There is going to be access number. Okay, so let me use this variable, right? And then there is going to be a section number. So let us use section number, and then rack number is there. Okay, and then there is going to be a title. Title is going to be a string. A native C++ string is a character array. Okay, so we have to use a character array for title as well as author. Okay, so these are all going to be the data members that we understand explicitly by the properties mentioned in the problem. Then when we look at it, we understand that one more attribute is required. Okay, why? Because when we are going to lend it, we have to check whether the book is inside the library or not, right? If it is not inside the library, then you cannot lend the operation. So there must be something like status or something that has to be made. Let me have it as a bool variable, and let me tell in library. Okay, so in library is a Boolean variable which is going to represent whether the book is in the library or not. And then we are going to have some member functions, right? And apart from this, when we look at the problem, one more thing is required, that is the total number of books that is available in the library. If we maintain, then we can easily print it. Otherwise you have to go to each book and find out that status and then count. Instead what we can do is, we can have a variable in which we can keep track of the number of books that are available in the library. So I am going to have a static data member also here, telling static int. Okay, I can tell num books, right? Num books, this is just a declaration. See, when we see static data members, what we do within the class is just a declaration. This is the information for the compiler, but you have to define it also when you have to use it, right? So, how we will define? First, you have to say the name, data type of the static variable, and then the class in which you have declared the static variable, scope resolution operator, and then the name of the static variable. Here we have given as num books, right? We are going to use that name, and then I can also initialize. So, I am going to initialize that to 0, right? Here only definition happens. A definition is the place where we ask the system to allocate the memory. Generally, definition and declaration are same in C and C++, but when you look at extern and static data member, in those cases only there is a separate thing like declaration, and for static data members we have a provision to define also. So, we are defining it, okay, right, and then we are going to read the details of the book. So, let me have a function to have like read book, right. This function I will call, and then what we are going to do is we are going to, then you have operations like lending the book and then returning the book and so on. Let us have, this is okay, lending, right, and then returning. If required we can change the return type, or okay, return is a keyword. So, let me tell like return book, okay, right. And both of these, when you look at it, you have to pass the access number as the input. So, I am giving one input argument, that is one argument to the function, that is int, representing the access number of the book, right. And then I want a function to print the number of books in the library, and it is being maintained as a static variable. So, it will be good if I have it as a static member function, right. So, let me have it as a static member function and call it as print num books, right, and its return type, when you look at it, it is going to just make a print operation. So, let it be a void, right. So, this is my class, this is my class declaration. Here I have mentioned what all the data members I require, and I have given a static qualifier for one of the data member because it is respect to the entire what we can say, it's like it refers in common for all the book objects in the library. It is not specific to one of the book in the library. So, I am going to have it as common. So, the static qualifier is going to have a shared memory across the objects, right. That is what we are going to do, and I am giving num of books as 0. Now, let us define the functions. First of all, let us define the read books function. So, the return type is void, right, book, and then scope resolution read underscore book, right. So, I am going to call through an object. This function is going to be called through an object. So, obviously, I will be reading and storing the values of the implicit object in the space of implicit object. So, I am telling account number, section number, I think next is rack number, these things you read, okay, and apart from this title, this is the order given, and then author, okay, these are all the things that are going to be read from the user, that is all, okay. This is what is read book is going to do, and then I have to do lending operation, okay. So, let me write the function, void is the return type of the function, book, right, and then we are going to have lending, and then int access number is going to come as a input argument, right. So, in lending what we are going to do, so lending is basically, it is going to give the book for someone. So, we have to perform a search operation, right, and when you look at this lending, I think better I can have a search as a separate thing, right, but I have to search in the array of books, right. So, what we can do is, instead we can have the searching thing in a different function. and after that I can call the lending, right. So I will call through the object of the book itself, which is going to be lended. So I am not going to pass. See, there can be minor variations when you are going to implement. So I am going to not pass the lending for the lending function, and for the return book function I am not going to pass the access number. Instead I am going to call through the book which is going to be lended or which is going to be returned, right. So in the lending function what should be done is, actually I should change the status of the book, that is in library is the Boolean variable, in which here in the read book function one more thing I have to make is, I should say in library equal to true, okay. All the books are in the library only. So I have to make in library equal to true in the read book function itself, and in the lending function I should first of all make this as in library, right. I can tell, okay, I can first check if in library is equal to false. If it is not in the library, then what we can do, you can return, or I can just print it here also. I can just tell print -1, right, sorry C out, you can tell C out -1, and I can just return, okay, if this condition is satisfied. So I have to put within the curly braces, okay, since these two statements should be executed only if the condition is satisfied. I am telling C out is -1, and I can just return, right. Otherwise what we are going to do is, we are going to mark in library as false because it is going to be lended, right, and then you have to decrement the number of books also, right. So we are maintaining that as a static data member. See, static data members can be accessed from everywhere, from static member functions as well as non-static member functions we can access it. So I am decrementing the number of books, right. And next function what we are going to write is the return book function. So return underscore book, right, and then here the book should be in the should not be in the library, isn't it. So if the book is inside the library, then there is no point in telling that I am returning the book, isn't it. So in this case we will say if in library is true, then we are going to return -1, sorry, we are going to print -1, and then we are going to immediately return. Otherwise what we are going to do is, we are going to tell in library is equal to true, okay, is equal to true, and you must increment the number of books in the library, okay. This is what we are going to do in the return book function. And what else is left over is, we have to write the print num books, okay. So let us write print num books, return type is void only, and it is a static member function. So I should not access any other data member other than the static variables, okay, static data members. So print num books is going to be the function what we write, and we should just say C out num books, okay. So you are going to just print the number of books, right. So I think everywhere it's better to put a endl so that everything goes to the next line after printing, okay. I can do that, okay. See, now this is done, all these member functions are done. One thing that is pending is, I have to lend, okay. Let us do the main, and let us come back and see whether all the functions are sufficient or not, or else we will write a function, okay. So the first step what I am going to do is create 5 books, right. That is mentioned in the problem itself that we are going to have only 5 books. So I am going to create, I will better create it as a array, right. So I am going to tell book B5, right. So I am creating 5 objects, right, and then what I am going to do is, I am going to let me have here itself I can tell for int I but the scope will be only within the loop. I have to, if I use somewhere else, again I have to declare in that place. Okay, let it be a single declaration. So I am putting at the top of the function itself. So I am telling for I equal to 0, I less than 5, I plus plus, right. We will tell b of I dot read books. Okay, yeah, read books or book, let me see, yeah, read book, right. So I am going to read the details of all the 5 books. That is done. And then what should we do? It is given in the problem that you have to have a loop in which you will be getting a choice from the user, right. Let me get a choice from the user, and I am going to do like do while, right. So do, because I do not know what is the value of choice, or I am not interested in initializing also. So I am just going to have it as a do while. We know that do while means the condition will be checked only after executing the body once. That is required for me in this condition. So I am going to tell while choice is not equal to 0, right. I am going to do. So I am going to read the choice from the user, right. I am going to read as choice, and then I will read the access, that is I will check what is the value of the choice. Let me have it like a switch case thing, right. Switch choice, I am going to have a switch case, switch choice. So what will I do for choice 1, case 1? I have to call the lending function, but when can I, but I have to call with the reference of the book, right, with which that is going to be lended, right. So I should have a search function, right. So let me read the access number. So I need to read access number, okay. So or I will give some other name, was the same name I have given there. That will not be a problem, but I am just changing for so that you don't get confused, right. So I am getting the access number from the user, and then I am going to search whether this book is this access number is present, okay, and where it is present. So I am just going to send the array and then the access number, right. So the search will give me the index. It will be like the index where the book is book that should be lended is available. So let me have one more variable, index, right. So I am telling index equal to search b comma access, right. And here what we should do after this, index will be having the index of the book that should be lended. Now I should call the lending function with in the context of the book, okay, that should be lended. So I am telling b of index dot lending. Fine. So this is what should be done for case 1, right, and for case 2, right. For case 2, what should happen? Again I should read the access number from the user, and again I will be calling the search function to get the index of the book that should be returned, right. Return book, right. I think no, sorry, I have to give the access number, right, and in the next line I will be calling, yes, index, I made a mistake in spelling. So in the next line I will be telling b of index dot return book. This is how I will be calling the function, okay. So I am going to return the b of index book, that's all, okay. And I can have a break to break this, and if the user is giving case 3, okay, if the user is giving case 3, then what I can do is I can just it is just to print the number of books. That's what, as per the problem statement, I have to just call the print number of books, right. So how can I call the print number of books is I can just use the class name itself for print num books, right, print num books. If I call, it is a static member function, so I can just use the class name also for calling. Here I'm not interested in calling through any of the objects context because it is just a print. So, I am calling it through the context of this. If you want, you can put a break here, okay, because after that nothing is there, or else you can put a default also. In default means none of the cases are met, then also I am just going to break, I am not going to do anything, right. This is what the main program will be. Now, we are yet to write the search function alone. I will do one more thing. For the search, we are passing array. Whenever we are passing array, we should also tell how many elements are present in the array. It will not be known, but in this case, of course, we just tell like 5 elements are only present. But anyway, let us make it as a standard procedure. When we pass a array in C or C++, we have to pass the number of elements in the array also, right. So, let us write the search function now, and it is going to return the index. So, the return type of the function is int, and it is not a member function. Please understand, this is a global function. So, int search, for which the array of books are coming, and then int num of books, and then int access, right. This is what is going to be the case, and then I am just going to do a linear search, right. So, for int I equal to 0, I less than n num, okay, in this case num I should put a semicolon, I plus plus, right. I can check, right, if, okay, if b of I dot, right, what is the name, how I have given the name is, I think acc underscore num. So, let me use, I should use the same thing. So, here I am going to tell b of I dot, the data member name is acc underscore num, right. So, if b of I dot acc dot num is equal to access, okay, if it is the access number what I am searching, then I am going to return yeah, I, right. That is what, and if it is not available, then I am going to return -1. Anyway, in my problem I have not been given the case, but we have to return always, right, that is the correct procedure. So, if the book is available, I am going to return the index of the book, otherwise I am going to return -1. This is how my search function is going to be, right. I hope the code is complete now. We are going to read the choice from the user, and based on the choice we are going to switch, right. Case 1 means you are going to read the access number, and then you are going to search and find the index where the book that should be lended is available, and then through that particular object I am calling the lending function, right. This is the code. And for case 2, you are reading the access number, you are going to once again call the search function, right, which will return the index where the book that should be returned is available, then you are going to call the return book function. And then case 3, we want to just know how many books are still available in the library, and we have written a static member function. We know that static member function can be called without object itself using the class name. So, I am calling like this, book scope resolution print num books. Hope this is clear. Yes, there were a few errors, like I didn't declare return book with the scope resolution operator, that is as a member function. When I was defining, I missed this, so I have just added book scope resolution, and then small mistakes were there. Now, I want you to look at this particular error. See, what is the error is, account number is private, isn't it, and I have returned this search as a separate function. So, I should have a function just to return the account number, right. So, int get account number, I can call like this, right, so that it is returning me the account number alone. Sometimes it is required that we have to get the one of the data member for a function, right. So, since they are in private sections, we have to call, or we have to provide a public member function to get the value that is allowed, right. That is a general programming practice only. So, let me go here, and instead of this I am going to tell get account number, right. So, I will be given the value of the account number. Hope it's done, and it is telling I didn't still define it, isn't it. Yeah, so I have to define it. Let me define it. It is a member function, so I have to say like this, get account number, okay, then return, you have to say return, okay, account number, right. So doesn't match, right, account number doesn't match any book, right. Let me see. Yeah, the return type I have given as void, that was the mistake. So that is changed. Yeah, the code is successfully completed. Now let us try executing the code. Yes, we have to just initialize the number of books as 5, isn't it? It's a static data member. I initialize to 0. It should be number of books as 5, and let us check with the test data that I have stored in the notepad and another thing. So I am going to give the details of 5 books, right. These are all the 5 details. The first one is going to be the access number. This is rack number, shelf number, something like that. Book. This one and this one is the most important thing, because this is only used in the entire problem. So let me copy these things and let us go to the terminal, compile the code and execute the code, right. And I am giving the 5 details, and then I am giving 1 290, right. So 1 means lending operation, 290 is already in the library only. So now status alone will change to lended, and number of books also will change. Then 123. So when you look at 123, this is also in the library only, so it will be lended, and then again I am trying to lend the book. Already it is lended, it is not come back, right. If I am trying to do this, my code should print -1, that was mentioned in the problem, so it is printing -1. Next, let me do 3. What is 3 is print the number of books in the library. Already we have lended 2 books, isn't it? So the number of books will be 3, right. And 1 245, lend the book 245. 245 is present in the library only, so it is fine. And now I am giving 3, right. So you see, one more book is lended from the previous count. It has come down to 2. And then 2 means you are going to return a book. Now I am going to return a book 123. You can see that 123 was already lended, so it is not in the library. So it will be okay, fine for me to return the book with access number 123. But next I am going to return the book with access number 178. When you look at it, I never lended the book 178. It is already in the library only. So my code should print -1. So that is what it is doing. And then I have given the option as 3, okay, fine, right. It is going to tell me the number of books. There were previously 2 books, now one more book is successfully returned, this particular book, so the number of books is 3, okay. And then that is all. I am going to stop the execution. I have done, so I am giving 0, the execution will stop, right. So you can look at the code. I will just add the code in the box, right. Somewhere I will keep the reference of the code also. I will share it with you so that you can have a look at it and understand it. Okay, thank you.